Welcome to Reality Creative Video. I'm Hermes, and I got a few things I want to cover today. I know it's been a week since I had a show, and so I have a lot of little things to cover. So we're gonna call this the Hidden Gem Show, where you're gonna have to watch the whole show in order to find all the little hidden gems in here that I'm going to, give to you. So first, I had to make a list so I don't forget. So we're going to see how long this show runs. Hopefully not too long for you guys that like to hit the stop button. All right. First is distilled water. Now, I know if you guys have been following my distilled water thread, I've noted, I've talked about that I'm using the Walmart distilled water now because something has happened to my distilled water. Now, in the very beginning, when I got the video microscope and I started taking pictures of my distilled water, it looked like this, okay, which is pretty not bad actually if you compare it to the Walmart water, which looks like this. The Walmart water is actually a little bit more cleaner than the distilled water, but my distilled water, that picture was back before lightning season. Now, since we're knee-deep in lightning season right now, my distilled water, after I'm done distilling it, looks like this. As you can see, the distilled water by itself right now looks like a colloidal mix. And because of that, I've had to I can only use the Walmart water now when I cook my colloidals, or at least the Walmart water when I'm having to deal with wanting to see what's in the microscope and know about the quality of what I got here. So what's in this mystery water? Now, I think I have it figured out, and the key is lightning season. Beginning of lightning season, the water was very much free of most of these little extraneous things, which I didn't know what they were. But now I'm thinking they're colloidals. And this is the reason I'm thinking they're colloidals. Now, as lightning season is progressing and I'm taking samples of my distilled water, it's getting worse. It's getting more and more colloidals. It looks like a colloidal solution gets getting heavier and heavier. I mean, right now, my distilled water looks like a, 15 parts per million distilled water, a silver batch or something like that. So what I think is happening is the lightning strikes are creating colloidals instantaneously in the groundwater. Well, let's think about it. Lightning is electricity, and when we're cooking up a colloidal here, we're putting electricity through a metal, and then that metal is, in essence, burning off and going into this water. Well, the aquifer of Florida is rich in mineral deposits, and being we're getting so much lightning, it must be instantaneously creating colloidals in the water. And this is why the concentration has gone up since May, the beginning of lightning season, where the colloidal concentration was really low, and now the colloidal concentration in my distilled water is really high. Now, as you might have guessed, you cannot distill colloidals out of water. Distilled colloidal particles are suspended particles. So when you distill them, they turn into the particles become trapped with the water vapor that you make when you're creating distilled water, because they're very light. The particles are very light. They get trapped in the water vapor, and then when the vapor gets turned back into water at the other end of the distiller, you got your colloidals back. So there's no way for me, anyway, to remove the colloidals from my distilled water except to buy distilled water that is free of colloidals. Now, the big guys may have a way of doing it, like Walmart and things like that, that I don't actually have. So anyway, that is my report on my distilled water that I've been experimenting with this week. And the other thing I want to talk about is the anode, okay? We have two probes. We have an anode and a cathode when we're creating a colloidal. Now, no material ever comes off the anode. Okay, the anode supplies the electrons necessary to melt the colloidal. You want to call it lightning blast the colloidal off of the cathode. So the electrons go in the water and they cause the cathode to lose material, which then goes into the water and it is attracted to the anode in order to collect itself on the anode. And the trick is, a good reason we use the stirrer, the trick is to prevent the metal from actually attaching itself to the anode, which we're for the most part, with the little mixing going on, we're able to do that. Normally you cook colloidal gold with a copper rod, but you can also cook it with a gold rod, and I do that also. I've talked about that. Oh, hold on a second. Let me grab my little package here. This is my gold rods. Okay, this is my current anode that I use for my gold when I cook my gold, and while it's not measurable, it has collected a little bit of gold on the gold rod. So when I do wind up needing another gold rod, I will take this gold rod and I will twine it up with my and make it with the cathode, and then that gold will then be returned actually for another round into my system. So I've reclaimed some of the gold that I lost. But I think, gold is very expensive, so I could see the advantage to using a gold anode with gold, when you're doing gold, to reclaim some of the lost gold. I've had trouble trying to nail down the exact cooking times for my colloidals. I've been wind up overcooking everything. Sometimes it takes longer to cook than normally, and sometimes it's shorter, and sometimes they flash cook really fast. In other words, nothing will happen for a really long time, and then all of a sudden you got material coming off the thing so fast you cannot actually prevent overcooking. So this gallon jug here, this is probably over a liter of colloidal gold that has been overcooked. Well, what happens when you overcook colloidal gold? Well, colloidal gold should be cooked to about anywhere between 15 to 18 parts per million. And then you will get ruby red colloidal gold, which is this is what you want to get. That's the goal. If you go past 18 parts per million, then you're going to get some what I call colloidal orange in there. The fluid starts to get cloudy. At first, it's an orangey sort of color, I call it. And the reason I call it orangey because there's so much gold going in there that the solution can't absorb anymore, and you start to see actually gold pieces of the gold floating in the water. And it gives it that goldish thing. And this is gold particles that have not gone into the water. And so you've completely wasted the gold because it's now just floating in the solution. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you for visiting Wisdom Store. Thank you for watching my videos and getting this far into the video, to share some of my energy and my enthusiasm with all of you, and being glad that somebody is actually appreciating this stuff.